Hello, good morning. I say good morning. It's 7 a.m. right now. I'm recording this, just a little quick book chat and update. Let's have a little summer reading vlog here, just talking about books. And before I start my work day, the kids are on summer break and there's summer camps next week and all kinds of stuff. So it's nice and quiet right now. Everybody's still sleeping or out walking the dogs. So let's have a little chat and enjoy our coffee. So let's start off with bad news first. The Ministry of Time, right? This is a new release by Kalian Bradley. I think this is a new author. This was my book club pick of last month. And you would think on paper it would be everything that I love. Time travel paradoxes, we got a little bit of a romance, little historical fiction, and a dystopian future all in one book. So this should be right up my alley, and it's written in like a first person POV from the character. I don't even know if we ever know her name, but the premise is they're bringing people from various parts of the past, and she doesn't really know why. She's this ambassador, what's going on with the assignment, but she's the bridge, right? And kind of get them readjusted into normal, like UK present life. And I'm not going to spoil it, but there's some drama, and the end felt a little bit chaotic to me. It was like, whoa, what? Because it's kind of like a little bit slow, and the romance is like kind of slow burn, and then at the end you're like, what is happening? And because it's in her point of view, I feel like you miss that big picture level of everything that's happening. The end quote is beautiful and I loved it, but it just didn't hit. I felt uneasy reading it, like a little bit yucky. I don't know why. I didn't really buy the chemistry between the characters. I would say like 2.3, 2.5 stars, 3 stars, which is kind of sad. The book of the month club pick, because I made this my Amazon book club pick too. I don't know if I'll do that again. Like I'll make both at the same time, but this one, my next pick from book of the month, was One Star Romance, and it's this guy, I guess, gives her a 1-star review on her book, and then they are at a wedding together, friends, proximity thing, probably will be enemies to lovers, that kind of trope. So I don't know. Let's see. After reading this, I'll be honest with you, I had this feeling of like, I'm just gonna stick to reading classics. I don't know if I could do modern books. I don't know. It's just the writing, everything is different. And also I will say that I probably felt that way because I had just finished reading Beach Read by Emily Henry. And I know Emily Henry has a huge fan base. And yes, her dialogue is really great and it's witty. I read Book Lovers and I gave it away because I didn't really love it. Even though, again, it has all the things on paper I would like. The two characters in Beach Read are both writers and kind of enemies to lovers too, misunderstanding, that kind of trope. Summer, beach, you would think. But I don't know, after that and that, I was like, you know what, I just need to stick to classics. But I will say, and I want to recommend them here, there are some modern, like historical fiction books where I love them. They're 5 stars, and I have 2 here to show you where the chemistry between the characters, like I bought it. I felt it. I learned from the historical fiction, like the context of it. It made me cry. Like I do have some books like that. And 2 are I, Eliza Hamilton and The Secret Wife of Aaron Burr. Now they're both from the same author, Susan Holloway Scott, one of my favorite writers. I think no one does historical fiction like her, just amazing. This one is 6 stars, all-time favorite. I would say this is like 5 stars, 5.5, amazing. So yeah, there are modern books that I do like, but it's hard to find it. Now, I will say there was a nonfiction book that I just finished that I cried like a baby. It was on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy to show you, but it's Believe It by the creator of It Cosmetics. Jamie, I forget her last name, starts with the P, but I was inspired. I loved it. I loved how she talked to us, the reader, and like always made us feel like she saw us, she cared for us. We were beautiful no matter what shape we were, what we looked like. Don't let anything hold you back. All of that is very sincere. It felt very sincere because she had, suffered a lot in the beauty industry to make that her message, to get that point across. Things that I remember just crying like a baby, some of the rejection and things that she was told, but she was adopted and she didn't know when she was an adult. And she tracked down her birth mother and rejected her at first. She didn't want anything to do with Jamie, and then came around and kind of had a little relationship. But again, like, she was so busy. She was working insane hours. I mean, she was burning out before they sold to L'Oreal. And then they reconnected, and now she also could not get pregnant. They hired a surrogate. So just those whole chapters of all of that, and her holding her baby for the first time. And it made her realize there was something missing with her birth mother, because she was never held like that from her mother. As soon as her mom gave birth to her, like the adoptive parents took her, she never even got to hold her. So she had invited her over one day, her mom, and was like, I now that I have my baby, I realize this is like a core wound I missed, that you never held me like a baby. She was like 42 at this time. And she's like, I would like to be wrapped up in a blanket and you to hold me. And they're like both crying. And the mom is like, no, Jamie's like, do you think I'll crush you? Because she was so petite. And Jamie's like, kind of like me at 42, So she did. She held her like a baby, wrapped up, her being in her 40s. And they just both felt that healing and crying. And that just like, that got me. I was crying. There were other parts in the story too. It was a great, great book. Like 6 stars. Believe it. I highly, highly recommend it. Let's see. Other books. I really love this magazine, Oh Reader, by Barnes & Noble. I think they're the ones that put it out. I love the little stories. My dream one day is to get a story published in here. I did one time send a pitch, and they didn't think it was for them. And now I'm like, oh, I hope they don't always reject my pitches. Now I'm not known as that person, so I'll try again. But it had an interesting piece here. Somebody who went on vacation and took note of all the books she saw other people reading. She went to Chile. 18 books spied in Chile, and there's one of the books is this one here, Intuitive Eating, which is one of my favorite books. Like, I want to do this every time I'm reminded of it. Anytime I feel frantic, like, I really will slow down and think about what my body needs, what it's craving. And I find that if I really do listen, even though the choices could be a little bit unorthodox or go against like certain diet protocols, like I shouldn't eat that. But I find that when I do eat this way, I feel very balanced, very satisfied, and my weight does not go up. So I just need to fully trust it. It's about trusting yourself, right? But, the article is talking about how it says a lot when you go on vacation and you bring an actual hard copy book with you, because it's taking up space and everything. But also so reading something like this in public, it's very vulnerable, because you're showing people not just your taste in books, but you're showing them that maybe you have like a relationship with food that you're trying to heal. And so just, it's very interesting reading books like this in public. If you see someone else, you can connect, you can talk about it. But yeah, it could be kind of a vulnerable thing. So I read a lot of reading books these past few weeks. How to Write Short, that one, it was okay. Some other ones on Amazon Kindle. My favorite is still forever going to be Everybody Writes by Anne Hadley. Look at what I did to it. I didn't have a comb big enough for it, so I had to break it up in 2, but I use this all the time, every day. It's amazing. Another one that I did read on Kindle that I loved was Intuitive Writing. See, I like all things intuitive, right? There's Intuitive Reader, where you read what you're in the mood for. I try to really listen to that, like guide me what I want to read next. But intuitive eating, this is a good one, and intuitive writing. And it just talks about how to get rid of writer's block, how to be inspired, and all kinds of great stuff like that. I would say that that's a 4-star book. Okay, I think that is it. Right now I'm reading something different, and that is 6 Easy Pieces of Essentials of Physics Explained by Its Most Brilliant Teacher. This is Richard P. Feynman. And the intro is very, like, already I'm hooked. And we're talking about quantum physics, basic physics, the theory of gravitation, quantum behavior. I think it's really interesting. I'd never studied physics and I have older teens now, and so they're getting into it with homeschooling, and I know I don't have to teach them. Thank goodness we have the internet now, and curriculums and programs and books, but I do want to have some sort of grasp on the topic myself, and so this is my key right there. I'm also going back to some parenting favorites, because sometimes you just need a refresher. I will say this is my favorite. The absolute quickest way to help your child change. This works for toddlers to teenagers. And it's a very short, easy, quick reminder read. And then kind of revisiting 13 things mentally strong parents don't do. I did a video on one of them. Now, I do also like to kind of go with the literary almanac and see like what are the seasonal reads for June. So June is my birthday month, but it's also Father's Day. It's on the same day. My birthday falls on Father's Day again this year. So yeah, we'll have to share that day. But there's some books, top 10 books with an interesting perspective on fatherhood. In number 5 is Pride and Prejudice, which I think is a great one. Mr. Bennet is certainly a very interesting father character. Also 10 on the list is Wonder. I started that as a audiobook for our kids, and I never finished it. I don't know, maybe I just need to read it out loud and not be an audiobook in the car when we're driving. But it's originally written as a YA book, but it's really taken off, became very popular. There's some spin-offs. But the dad in this beautiful book struggles in a very human way when his son is bullied for having a rare craniofacial disorder, emerging as a hero of kindness and tolerance. It's funny because I get the Literary Hub newsletter, and their focus was on like the worst literary dads. And number 1, basically anything with Shakespeare seems to be like the worst dads. And it always has, other recommendations. I thought it was interesting that Ulysses is one of them. I've never read it, but kind of been interested, like what is it about? Because guess what? This is one of the books featured in the show Lost. This is a book that Ben was reading when they went on the Al Jazeera plane to go back to the island.
Can you read? My mother taught me.
But it says the other reason is that the entirety of Ulysses is set on a single day in June, on the 16th to be precise. Okay, see, it's meant to be because my birthday is June 16th. So maybe I just have to read it. All right, so that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you're reading. Any 5 stars for you? Please let me know in the comments down below. I do have an Amazon book club. I'll leave a link to it. Not sure yet what book will be for next, we'll see. And I do have a book matchmaker app. It's free now. It's a ChatGPT plugin, but they made the marketplace plugins free for everybody. So you can go on there if you just have a regular ChatGPT account, and it will ask you some questions and match you up with your next perfect read. So I might do that again today. It's always spot on for me and my kids. So let me know if you try that. All right, thank you so much for watching. Now, I think you would really like this video, but YouTube's algorithm thinks you would like this video instead. So whichever one you choose, I will see you there. Bye for now.